This is the 80s Show on iHeartRadio.
Let's go. Say ho, ho. Say ho, whoa, ho, whoa. Let's start the show. Let's start the show.
Top of the morning. How the hell might you be? It's a Monday. As we always discuss on Mondays, that's a bit of a rhetorical question. It's Mondays, so it's going to suck big, swinging, hairy things that distend from animals that you wouldn't want anything to suck at all, ever. But it's going to be that way because it's a Monday, and we'll get through it together. Let's talk instead about the quality of your weekend. How'd that go? How'd you do? Did you do anything fun, noteworthy, interesting, entertaining? Did you maybe see something or do something that was kind of cool or different? Maybe you went to a show. Maybe you, I don't know, went on vacation. Maybe you just hung out with some friends or what have you. Chances are, if you are a human in the year 2014 and you did something vaguely interesting with your weekend, chances are, if you're a human in the year 2014, you documented it. You know how there's all these gaps with, you looked at, websites like Ancestry.com make ass tons of money by trying to help you figure out who your relatives were, who your grandparents and great-grandparents were. You have all these gaps of understanding and who they were and where they went and what they did and how that helped make you what you are. And it's an interesting and fascinating thing, and something that will probably not exist in the future, only because we are, as a race, so unbelievably well documented at the moment. Everybody has multiple social media profiles. Everybody documents every last meal they have, every last trip to the grocery store, every last sunset, it's all there for future generations. And, on Facebook to show the people that you went to high school with how much better your life is than theirs. But here's the thing. In all this constant documenting of absolutely everything, are we beginning to look at life through a camera lens, through a phone, and miss what's really there? A band did something interesting over the weekend that would suggest we are.
If you like what you're hearing, tweet the show at ADSXE. AD on iHeartRadio.
I do what I want, when I want, how I want. Yeah, I do what I want, when I want, how I want. This is my United States of whatever. Picture me giving a damn, I said never. Yeah, I do what I want, when I want, how I want. Every day you're going and working, running that rat race, is that pace and that
pace. Yeah, so I don't know what you did with your weekend, but if you're like the vast majority of people I know, there is some sort of record on it on some form of social media. Like, there's probably Instagram pictures of meals you might have had, or sunsets you might have seen, or buildings that you might have been around, or whatever the hell, like day at the park with the puppies, which, I have nothing against people doing that. That's awesome. I actually enjoy that. It especially helps me feel connected with relatives that I'm not close to, geographically speaking. Like, I like to be able to see what's going on in my sister's life when it pops up in her Facebook feed. That's pretty cool. I like that. There's a value to that, and I'm not trying to get around it or deny that. But what's kind of interesting is we're almost living our lives looking through the camera on our phone, not even a real camera. We can't even pass it off as photography. It's just what it is. It's documenting everything that you're doing because, oh man, this looks fantastic. But at some point, do you feel as though we're starting to not necessarily catch what the hell is going on because we're too busy taking pictures of it? I mean, this is not an especially new idea. I remember once Green Day played a secret show in a little club. They can fill stadiums, and they played this secret show in a little club. And Billy Joe Armstrong got up on stage and went, "Put your phones away. stop filming this. Not because they were worried about piracy, not because they were worried about anything like that, but he said, there's something your phone can't capture. It's called memories. The Eagles played, they're on tour at the moment, and they're getting out on stage. Interestingly enough, they get out on stage, and they tell you they want your attention, and they want you to put cell phones away, and they want you to turn them off. Not for photos, not for videos, not because they're worried about you bootlegging the show, but they want you to be in the moment. And they had cell phone spotters at the show kicking people out if you looked at your phone or if you sent a text. Now, that's a rather Gestapo-esque way to carry on at a rock concert, but they make a valid point. You're here to be in the moment. You're here... I mean, it's an Eagles show. You paid an awful lot for that ticket. You really did. So you might as well be in the moment and enjoy it. And you want to have a memory of it. And you want to be able to put it up on Facebook, and you want people to see that you're at the Eagles show. And that's kind of cool, I suppose. But on the other hand, are you missing something? Are you missing the juice of life? Are you missing the actual borderline spiritual human-on-human interaction that makes the world go round? And is that dangerous for us going forward? I think it is. If you look at the number of school shootings, see, this is how I tie in classic rock concerts to school shootings. If you look at the number of school shootings that have taken place over the last, let's say, 50 years, back in the day, there were almost none. And I'm not, let's leave the issue of gun control out of it for a second. I'm not advocating for anything in this particular situation other than humans talking to humans and being connected with humans. But if you look at school shootings back in the day, you go back to the 50s when, I don't know, a kid could buy a .22 at a convenience store. You could probably get one at Wall Drugs, and no one would, there was no gun control. There was no waiting period. Any kid could buy a gun. Number of school shootings, almost negligible. And the number of school shootings has shot up at an exponential rate. And if you look kind of at the history of our digital technology, the number of school shootings has gone up in direct proportion to the advancement of digital technologies. Meaning there was this glorious moment, I think it was the late 90s and early 2000s, there was this glorious moment where the internet did what it was supposed to do. When it came out, people were like, oh, it's a super highway of information. It will break down barriers between cultures and places that are far apart, and there's really no getting around the fact that this is going to make the world smaller and usher in a new, greater period of understanding in humankind. And for a brief second, for a blip on the radar, that was true in the late 90s and the early 2000s. Before people went, hey, we can use the internet to sell stuff, and we can figure out what people want to buy before they know they want to buy it. Everything's so predictive. And this incredible digital technology, which was meant to foster in a new renaissance, a new age of enlightenment, has wound up doing exactly the opposite. Now, it is a double-edged sword, and it's very valuable. But if me or Funkhouser go to Google and we type in Egypt, we're gonna see things about Muslim brotherhoods and people getting beheaded and car bombs going off and things of that nature. If my Egyptian neighbor down the hallway, if he types it in, he's going to see things like just the word Egypt. He's going to see things like the best deals on plane tickets, hiking trips, best time to leave to watch the sun rise from Mount Sinai. The vast difference in the digital experience that should be the same thing, or initially was the same thing, it's creating this wall, it's creating this bubble. It tries to figure out what the hell it is you want out of life and give you that. And if what you want out of life is to understand things outside of your bubble, well, then you're SOL. You're out of luck. And on the one hand, it's fantastic. Say you're a brony. Say you have no connection. Say you are like this kid that I watched in a documentary about bronies. This kid from a small town in the Carolinas who, because straight kid, but a little eccentric, didn't really feel connected in his town of about 1,000 people, had like a custom My Little Pony brony decal on the back of his car. And for that, when he went to the gas station, a bunch of local kids took a ball bat to the side of his car, smashed out his windows, and pointed a gun at him because he liked My Little Pony Friendship is Forever. Not because he was hurting anyone, but because he was so incredibly different. And for a kid that is different in that way, for a kid that feels that estranged in his hometown, in his community, being able to, through the magic of Google, Facebook, and all the algorithms that connect you with people that are exactly like you, to find a sense of connection amongst that, when the people that live in your backyard are actively terrorizing you in that way, well, that's doubtlessly incredibly valuable. But it does put up these walls where we are not able to reach out to other people. Conversely, if you are a cross-burning guy that's looking for your local clan chapter, easier than ever to find. If you're looking to people find each other. Like, I always wonder, like these couples that, get together and decide, hey, you know what I want to do? I don't know if you're into this, but I'd really like to get hookers over here, have sex with them, chop them up and bury them in the basement. Is that something you'd be into? Those people find each other. And now they find each other even more easily thanks to the beauty of the interwebs. It is a double-edged sword. But one thing is for certain. We are being closed off from human connection. And we are being put in a bubble because Google and Facebook try and predict what the hell they want, and they can try and connect you with things you already like. And that stops you from expanding your mind, and that stops you from reaching out, and that stops you from connecting. And if you look at the number of school shootings that happened back in the day, they increase exponentially. When there was no gun control in place, more or less, almost no kid walked into a school and shot it up. But now, this level of disenfranchisement that appears to be happening, which is in direct correlation to the fact that we communicate digitally exclusively now, that lack of human interaction, that lack of ability to go out and be like, hi, my name's AD. What do you like to do? That lack of ability to make real friends leads to an almost sociopathic inability to see past your own nose, to deal with other people. And this bubble that we're being put in digitally is a dangerous thing. Kids now are growing up with their main form of interaction being texting. And texting's great and texting's convenient, and like everything in the digital world, it is the greatest and worst thing to ever happen. Texting's fantastic. It's expedient. It allows you to communicate. It allows you to talk to people that you want to talk to while you're stuck in an incredibly dull meeting, and that's wonderful. But also, kids that are growing up with their main form of communication being texting, they have time to formulate sentences. They have time to go, I don't know if I really want to say that, delete before they send it. They have time to correct their spelling, pronunciation. They formulate thoughts, and they only let them out when they're good and ready. And that is probably 100% destroying a new generation's ability to think on their feet in a conversational manner. And that's not good. That's not healthy. You need to be able to converse. You need to be able to relate. You need to be able to connect with other human beings. You can't be this cold machine of a person that doesn't know how to be friends with someone. Because, look, there is a direct correlation between the number of violent incidences that are happening. And it is my personal theory, I don't think there's science backing this up, that the disenfranchisement from the rest of society and other people and face-to-face communication that Google, Facebook, and other things encourage are connected to school shootings. But I think they are. And I think they are contributing to the retardation of the progress of our species. And Google and Facebook are complicit in that, which is why it would be really great if they would give us the option to depersonalize our digital experiences. If we could go like, hey, that's really cool, and I do like to have movies suggested that I would like to watch before I know I want to watch them based on Facebook, Amazon, Google, all of the above. Netflix. That's really cool. But I would also like the ability to turn it off and see what's really out in this world.